When I first started riding enduro, I used to see a hill and just gun it. Sometimes I'd make it to the top, but more often than not, I wouldn't. In each attempt, I had absolutely no idea what I was doing. I was relying on luck. Most of the hills I tried were just simply too hard for me. So, what makes a section too much to handle or too easy to be challenging? We sense it instinctively, but our feelings in the moment can bias us. Today, I'm going to break down the relationship between a section difficulty, your ability, and the probability of success. Let's look at it in a totally different setting. Let's say someone takes up boxing, and after a year of training, they get into the ring with a professional. Obviously, they would have bitten off way more than they could chew, and they would lose the match. This is an extreme example, but it's obvious, and it makes the underlying principles very clear. I learned about this through my profession as a teacher. Now, in the classroom, every student has an ability and every task has a difficulty. The Rasch model looks at the probability that the student can complete a task consistently, not just by luck. When the task is too easy or too hard, learning slows down. The same thing happens with our riding. In teaching, I match the difficulty of the task to the ability of the student, and we see them progress as they handle harder and harder tasks. It works exactly the same for us as enduro riders. Progress is obvious when things that used to feel impossible become manageable. If we combine this way of thinking with mindful training, then progress becomes fast and solid. We can apply this principle to sections just above our comfort zone. So here is my rule of thumb. If I ride a section during training and I clean it 8 out of 10 times, then it's way too easy. If I clean it 5 out of 10 times, then it's the perfect training zone. If I clean it less than that, then I have to make it easier. When I train a section, like a hill climb, I assess it and I adjust. If it's too easy, I increase the challenge. If it's too hard, then I scale it back. A hill can be made easier by only doing the first part, giving myself a longer and a straighter run up, removing obstacles, doing it when it's dry. If I want to make it harder, I just reverse those things. So remember, if it's too hard, we risk falling into the unlearning trap, like I spoke about in the 3rd episode. When a section is beyond our ability, we stop learning and we start surviving. This reactivates our old habits, exactly what we're trying to train ourselves out of, and we're trying to replace them with good enduro technique. When was the last time you trained something way too hard? And what happened? Feedback is vital for learning, and very useful in this process. After each attempt, I review mentally what I did. Camera footage helps me immensely. I always celebrate what went well, and I analyze why it worked, and if it went wrong, I identify why. If needed, I leave the hill and I drill the foundation skill that broke down. So this actually creates a repeatable training loop, which I find myself using. I assess, I adjust, I attempt, I reflect, I drill, and I return. I log a lot of this in my training journal. Honestly, with so many skills being trained and used on each ride, it's easy to lose track of what I've been focusing on. By writing down what went well and what needs reinforcement, I consolidate the feedback when I'm sitting at home. And it also lets me look back. Sometimes patterns emerge that help me figure something out. Also, on days when my progress feels slow, the logbook is proof that I am actually working and that things are happening in my training. It gives me a realistic perspective when I feel terrible about my riding. Make a training journal. Use it. Enjoy it. One thing to hold on to. Training lives where success is possible, repeatable, and just done comfortable enough to demand good technique. Train well, and your confidence will stop coming from hope, and it will start coming from proof. But more on that next time.